everyone, and welcome back to Unreadable, episode number 7, something like that, I believe. Is this 7 or 8?
Yes. I
7.
don't know why you're asking me when I can't hardly ever remember our
Uh,
name most of the time, but
yeah,
that's
anyway.
fine.
Anyway, next slide. Here's CJ and I talking about our book Unreadable, and we have some updates for you. Not so much on like we're still kind of plowing ahead with the planning that we showed you that we did the last time. And we're still plowing ahead with that. And we're pretty much staying true to that at the moment. I think we have a pretty good roadmap, so we haven't really gone off into left field, but we did do some things. So last time we left off, so CJ had written part of chapter 17, I think last time, right? And so let's talk about that. What was being introduced in 17, and then I'll talk about what I did in moving some parts of it. So go ahead, CJ, and talk
Yeah,
about that a little bit.
this was kind of like the real torture scene before Rianne was just toying with her, and so now she's got a syringe. Now she's got an opportunity to really take it, and Rianne, being the woman that she is, the crazy woman she is, she's actually almost not too concerned that Harper is keeping things from her because at the moment she just wants to now play. Now she gets to play and torture. And so I thought it was really important to kind of introduce all of that and have that in here. And some of what I put in chapter 17 was some information. We switched scenes and did a scene with Mikey and Westbrook, which is not something that I usually write. I don't usually write from Westbrook's perspective, but I needed it in there in order to bridge that gap to go and what I thought was kind of the next part. But I also knew that Troy would go in and fix some things because I'm working on Westbrook's voice, but Troy's better with Westbrook's voice than I am. And also I knew he'd be able to move some of those parts around and figure all of that out. So that was kind of 17. And then he added some
Yeah,
stuff in 17 as well. So I think it worked out good.
yeah. It worked out really well because what I really added to 17 was just the fact that we needed the way that Westbrook and Mikey were going to find Harper. We needed to show a little bit of the methodology for that. And I had something in mind. And so I was like, okay, well, this is a good way to add to CJ's torture scene with a little more torture because, hey, who doesn't want to do that? And you know what I mean? So I added a little more to that and then rolled into chapter 18, which is where we see basically Mikey and Miles waking up, not knowing where Harper is. And so attempting to find her and determine where she is so they can go and hopefully rescue her. Now that they've got some clues, in 16, they got some clues as to actually what the tattoo might mean and what they might have to do to figure out that meaning and use that meaning. And then as we roll into 18, we see that now that they understand that, they know some of the parts that they need. And we kind of come to a dark moment here where, like, there's a certain hope thing that maybe all hope is lost. There's a small shred of hope, but we're seeing that as we move into chapter 19 and 20 kind of dashed and kind of held back. But anyway, but we see at 18 that they're moving towards the solution. Then we move into chapter 19, and CJ took a wonderful opportunity here to have Rianne do some more delightful things. So tell us about that, CJ.
Indeed, I did. So in 19, I thought it would be funny well, first of all, Rianne just goes at it again. Okay, because she wouldn't be a true sociopath if she wasn't. And we're, at this point pretty sure that Rianne knows she doesn't really know much more, but hey, it's fun to play with her food, right? Because she's freaking crazy. And then we lead with the rescue, which Troy set up so beautifully. And so we have this opportunity for Mikey and Westbrook to rescue Harper and for Luke to actually come into the picture, which I thought was personally a nice touch because high heels are involved. Stilettos are used as weapons. And I can't think of a better way to use stilettos than as weapons. I mean, they certainly are weapons for women either way. So
Exactly.
worked out pretty great. And all I could think in my head was how you talked about your friend. Because didn't you say that the guy you based this off of, didn't he wear those stilettos
Yeah.
like heels? And he's already what, 6 foot something? I can't even
Yeah,
remember
he's
how.
like 6'4" and then wears stilettos, so he's like a giant when he's in stilettos. But he also, I mean, like, anyway, it's just, and the stilettos are weapons. I mean, to me, they certainly can't be comfortable to wear, but people wear them, all the time.
Crazy.
But I'm like, and Luke has rather large feet, so imagine that finding stilettos that actually fit has to be somewhat of a chore.
It's got to be
I,
challenging.
not one that I'm going to undertake. So he's kind of jealous of. I'm kind of jealous. I'm also jealous of the man's legs. But anyway, but but anyway, all all that being said was I loved how CJ brought him in and then used his heels and used who he was as a person as a part of the rescue. Even though really what Luke is there for is this intellectual piece that he knows that has a certain bit of knowledge. And so as we roll into chapter 20, what I was doing was taking that with Westbrook and having him realize that even when he was on the football team, he was an outsider because he
Mhm.
was a kicker.
Yeah.
And so he was a vital part of the team, but never really part of the team. And how he's kind of played this outside role in his family till he finally became a betrayer. And he was kind of a secret betrayer, and now he's out in the open. Rand knows, his dad's got to know. Everybody knows that he has switched teams. He's on the other side. And so he's not only in real danger, but now he has these people around him and he needs them, and he realizes this is my team now. This is the people that I can be loyal to. This is the people that can help me. So it's a really interesting moment. But now they have to decide where to go next, and they do have an errand to run. They have an errand to see whether this deck of cards that Mikey's crew was able to find, if it's actually a decent deck of cards, which it's not going to be. And so there's going to be an additional chase type thing to chase down the clues. But it's a moment when Harper and Westbrook come back together and they realize this is the person that's going to help me through this thing, you know. And so that's kind of the slow burn romance that's been going the whole time. Is not only are they realizing that, hey, I really like this person, but I need this person and they need me. So anyway, to me it's just a really cool moment, and it leads us right into the next parts of the book, which of course I can't wait to write. So I'll probably finish up chapter 20 either late tonight or early tomorrow morning and then pass the baton to CJ. Oh, but that does bring me to, we are in chapter 20 and we are at
Word count.
42,500.
Yeah, I
So
think
we
so.
are rocking it. We are ahead of schedule. In fact, let me check our targets really quick.
Yeah.
Because I can see our targets. So basically, we only have to write 572 words a day to finish on time. And so we are way ahead of that. In fact, here, let me just show this in our little screen here. Okay, share screen.
I've got minions behind me coming down the stairs. Ignore the children.
Oh,
It's
that
fine.
is okay. That is perfectly okay. Oh, yeah, here we go. All right. So here are our targets. We hit our little target here for mid-September at 5412. We should add another writing goal here. But you see that we've estimated 70,000. We're at 42,468. We have to write 572 days words a day to finish by November 15th. We may finish even a little bit ahead of that. Who knows? And you can see that we've got some track changes over here. We're looking at chapter 17 here because that's where I was looking back at that. But we're in chapter 20 and rolling on chapter 20. So that's kind of where we're at. But anyway, that's our targets. That's what we're doing and kind of where we're at. And so we're progressing at what I would say is very nicely at a very good pace, considering that we did not initially like really super think this through when we set up our pre-order
We
date.
we
And we
really
had no idea what was going to happen. Like we had no idea how upside down things would get turned in the process. So
no. And
I'm
it
actually very happy with
well,
it.
it's been a good thing. It's been a positive thing. We've had a really good time. We've had a lot of support. I think one thing that has been interesting about this is that there are so many views when it comes to writing a book. Plotters say, no, you have to plot every single thing. And pantsers say, no, it can be loose and don't plot anything. And I think Troy and I have taken the best of both worlds, and we've had a loose game plan. And I think you can have a little bit of both in order to make things work. Obviously, everybody's process is going to be different. If I'm being honest, the last few times I sat down to write a chapter, I sat down and said to myself, where am I at?
Mhm.
And then where am I going? Because I didn't have a really firm plan in place, even though we had a little bit of summaries here and there of ideas, general ideas of what we wanted to do, but it really didn't solidify in my head until I sat down and started fleshing it out. And that's where you feel, and I don't know what it's like for other people, but when I sit down and I can feel that I'm in the zone and it's coming, it's kind of like magic, and you kind of redo things, you re-say things, you rewrite some words here, you rewrite a paragraph, you add some stuff, and then you wait and you set it aside for an hour, you go back and you review it and you start fleshing it out even more and add more stuff. At least that's kind of how I function. And I can always tell that it's not horrific if I'm excited about it. If the writing
Mhm.
is not horrific, then I will be excited about it. If it is horrific, I usually just sit down and go, nah, I don't think so. And then I delete it. Fortunately, that has not happened doing this. And so it's been a lot of fun to sit there and to have an idea, but to not be totally sure of exactly how I'm going to, bring this idea to fruition. And it's been fun to just not worry about that and just let it go and write,
Oh
and
yeah.
not be stressed about that, but to just think, just see where it takes you and then get excited about it, which is not something that I have usually done when approaching writing before. So this has been a fun adventure for me in that respect.
Well, yeah, and I will just add that so for a couple of years, for a few years now, I've been neglecting some of my own stuff in the interest of helping others. And it's not that that's necessarily a bad thing. I love helping other writers and stuff like that, but I have neglected some of my own writing and let it not be as high of a priority for me. And so setting this deadline, along with other things that I really want to do with my writing career, now that I have a certain amount more freedom, has really like inspired me to go, okay, this is why I do this in the first place. This is what I love doing. And I'm not going to allow myself to go down that road again where I'm helping other people so much that I can't even really help myself. I just released a book today that's really, I mean, it's been ready for a long time. Like it's been ready. It's been in the works, ready for a long time. And it's a nonfiction one. So it's for you writers. You can go find it. I'm not going to tell you about it in this particular context. Go search for it. Find me on social media, whatever the hell. But anyway, the point being that this has reignited a fire for me under all of my writing. And again, I've fallen in love with co-writing again. I've had some really great co-writing experiences in the past, one or two really bad ones, but for the most part, really great co-writing experiences. And this has just been another one, and it makes me just want to keep writing in the series with CJ, so we can just keep writing books together. So anyway, that's
Absolutely.
just anyway. So that's a part of my take on that, is that this has been a real inspiration for me and has really helped me break back into that writing world where I actually need to be spending more time. So I'm extremely happy about that. I'm extremely excited about what's coming for these next few chapters. It's when you get past that middle and you start to get towards the climax that everything just starts to rock and roll. And for
Yes.
me, it's just electric, just like, oh
Yeah.
man. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
It's We're
yep.
having a good time over here.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. All right. Any last words, CJ? Are we gonna we can wrap this one up? This is a pretty quick one.
No last words. I leave it to Janet every time because she's the one who comes up with the word for the
I
day, the
know.
week, whatever. It's
Yeah.
Janet's job.
And I think hers earlier today was plethora, and that's just a lot. So we don't need to we we don't need
These
to
dad jokes, they're getting
waste
good,
our
Troy. They're
oh
getting
man.
good.
Getting good or bad. Or bad.
So
Anyway,
bad,
either
they're
way.
good.
All right. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. We appreciate it. And we will see you next week for another update. It is likely that we will be 2 to 3 chapters further along. So that's our hope. All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Bye.